Paul, the injured lad first, where are we at with Callum and Ryan in particular?
Yeah, Callum's trained, so he should be available for this weekend, barring any disasters between now and then. Ryan's a little bit more serious, and we're going to be missing him for quite a few weeks. He's got a nasty twist on his ankle, ligament damage, and firstly a silly little challenge. Nothing. It wasn't even a proper push. It wasn't even a proper physical challenge. There was minimal contact. Defender threw himself to the ground like he has every right to do, but it was just he got his legs caught around Ryan's and he's twisted his ankle. So really innocuous, but sadly we're without him for the next few weeks, and we just got to monitor him and get him back as soon as we possibly can, but hopefully when he's right.
Is that just a treatment thing, or is there anything that the surgeons or anybody like that's going to have to do?
Not at this moment. It's just merely treatment and letting the swelling go down. He had a lot of swelling. It's certainly improving as the week's gone on, but this weekend's definitely too early for him.
He must be so frustrated. He hasn't been able to lay his marker down yet, has he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, he had a decent start to pre-season. I thought he was looking fit and he was looking strong and he was a threat, and he was giving us a real focal point as a nine. Unfortunately, it's just the way the game goes. He's missing, and it's up to somebody else to come in and step in and take his place.
You've given us the timeframes on the other guys already. Is there any of them ahead of schedule, or is it as it was last week?
No, I think it's as it was. Ben Barclay should be coming back into the club next week. He spent the last couple of weeks back at Stockport. Toby has been and done some testing, and that's healing slowly, but too slow for my liking, if I'm going to be honest with you. But can't rush it. We've just got to be patient, and we try and avoid re-injuring the hamstring. Joel's on track from where we expected him to be. So we're getting there. We're getting some out, but it seems to be one step forward and two back at the moment. And maybe not two, maybe one forward, one back, and we've just got to try and be patient and keep calm about it.
It does feel like when you look at the bench and the others who aren't getting in the 18 that there are a few more options at the moment.
Oh no, there are a few options. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had the game at Fleetwood this week where we had a number of the first team group getting 90 minutes under the belt, getting a run out. People like Jack Stretton, Sonny, Duncan, Jack Ellis. Gabe was impressive between the sticks. So we had a number of the players were getting time out on the grass, which keeps them up to speed and hopefully keeps them involved in the group.
It was a really competitive game that on Tuesday. How important is that for players like that and the young lads as well, I suppose?
Oh, massively important. It's important it's done properly. I mean, you look at the punch that Jack Stretton took and the tackle that Taylor Charters took from one of their midfield players, and it's fair to say it was competitive, but pleased that they hung in. Long periods where it looked like they were going to lose it. But saying that, we had some really good opportunities that we could have made it more convincing than 1-0. So a lot of good things that came out of it, but the big thing for me is that we've got 90 minutes under the belt, and hopefully that we've got them fitter for when they're needed in the first team.
The attitude was fantastic. The real plus there, I mean, as a fan that I took away from it was Jack Stretton missed some of those chances you mentioned, kept going and gets the assist.
Yeah, without a doubt. I thought when he went and played wide on the right and coming in off that right hand side, I thought some of his runs were excellent, and he's slid a great ball across the, well, I was going to say 6-yard box. It was probably about 3 yards out for Sam Fishburne to get a tap in. So yeah, some really good stuff. I thought Sonny Hilton showed some quality at times. Duncan looked composed at the back. So yeah, there was a lot of good things out of it that the players will take confidence knowing that they're that bit fitter as well.
That important review that you do of every game, what did you see from last Saturday through the week that you're going to take into next week? This Saturday even?
Well, I think the first thing is we've got to start games better than we are. Simple as that. I learnt something for myself as well, because at 1-0 down I'd sort of decided I was going to change it and I was going to change the shape. Never got an opportunity to do it, and then we equalised, so I kept it, and I knew that the shape wasn't effective against theirs, because we had some real good opportunities. I mean, from going level at 1-1, we had a one-on-one with Christian Dennis that made a good save. We had Amari's chance 2 yards out from a good run from Jaden Harris. We had Paul Huntington had a half chance from a set play. We could and possibly should have been at least 2-1 up at half time. Whether we'd have deserved it is debatable, but we could have been. So I chose to stick with the same shape, And then it was such a whirlwind. I think it was about 40 seconds between conceding the second and the third. And then I thought, right, I've left it too late. I've got to change it now. Thankfully, we managed to recover and we got ourselves back in it. And again, we could have won it. They could have won it. It was a real seesaw game. So I've learned something from that. I'm not afraid to admit that. On the flip side of that, I think the players have learned that we have to start games properly. We've got to go in from that first whistle. We've got to be front foot. We've got to be mentally strong. We've got to be physically strong, and probably do what we did in those first two games against Crawley and against Colchester and start that way. We've gone away from that for some reason, so I learnt that, and I think we're it's probably just re-emphasised the fact that you've got to be competitive, you've got to be physical, you've got to win first contacts, you've got to win second balls, and you've got to be clinical. So no new learnings, if I'm going to be honest with you, from a team's point of view, but some things that we can all benefit from moving forward.
Did the lads chip in with that process of reviewing what perhaps went wrong in certain areas? Did they help you with that?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I've had a discussion with them today about how do we start games better? Do we need to do something as different as a group of staff? And the truth is, they've said no. It has to come from us. We've got to be the ones who go and get on the front foot from the start of the games. And we seem to have a little bit of a tendency, for whatever reason, that we're sitting back and we're waiting for it to happen. And generally, if you do that, something bad will happen. You have to go and you've got to take it to teams. This weekend, I fully expect Harrogate will come flying out the blocks. We've got to match them. We've got to be prepared to go and run and work. And that, for me, in every game of football, that's the base to build from. You work hard, you're physical, you're competitive, and then if you've got ability, that then comes out on top after that.
If you don't mind me saying this, I think you might even agree Harrogate wasn't our finest hour last season.
I've said to the players, it was probably one of my worst involvements with a team for many a year, what went on that day. And nobody can actually put the finger on what it was. We were just rubbish all over, and we can't afford to do that. I don't care where you are, who you are. You can't afford to do that. And that was a real eye opener for me last year, because I think we all got a little bit carried away and thought, oh, it's all really nice here. Everything's going all right. We're picking up results, and then we properly got our pants pulled down off them. So we've got to make sure that we're better this weekend. You know, we have to start right, and we are a different group from what that was last year. There's been a hell of a lot of changes. So I hope we go and show the real Carlisle United when we turn up this weekend.
Looking in, it's a tight pitch and they utilise that well with the way they break with the likes of Armstrong, Muldoon and the others. So they've got the players who work to that pitch.
Oh no, they have. They've got a good group of players. They've been suffering a little bit of late with a lot of injuries. They've got a suspension this weekend. The top and bottom of it is we've got to be. It's got to be about us. We have to be right. It doesn't matter what they play, what shape they play, who the personnel are. We've got to carry on where we've been going. You know, we've got to that spell that we had when it went 1-1 last weekend. The spell that we had to get back to 3-3, and then after that, we have to do that properly. On the back of it as well, though, on the forward play, we have to make sure we keep the middle of the pitch secure, which we didn't do particularly well last weekend, which made it a real basketball game. And if we can do that and we can have that bit of security, I do think that we've got players who can cause problems.
And again, we've sold out our allocation for the away fans, so they'll be there. And you talk about Fortress Brunton, you also want to marry that with away performances as well, don't you?
Yeah, you have to. You know, it's a case of to do well, you have to be consistent home and away. And we have an opportunity this weekend, if we go and do it properly, to get a really positive result. We know it's going to be a difficult game. I know the way that Simon sets his teams up. It's a tough place to go. It is a tight, compact ground, but we'll have really good support there. The players are certainly up for it, and we've just got to make sure that we come out on top.
And they're one of those teams, they settle quickly to Football League life. Now they are an established League Two side. It's never easy.
No, it isn't. No, it's a lovely place, Harrogate. Really nice place to go. But I've got to say, they don't make the football club a nice place to go. They make it tough. And we've got to be right. It's as simple as that. It really is a weekend where we have to get our heads right, get our preparation done properly, and then once that whistle goes, it's up to the players and the staff for little bits of it where we can make little changes, but the players have to be absolutely spot on for this one.
Once you get through that first month, as we have, it starts to get to the meaty bit, doesn't it, of every season? And this is where you have to start to really find the consistency you're talking about.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we've had an okay start to the season with the 9 points, so we're okay, but just okay. We don't want to be okay. We've had, I think, as a football club, we've had too many years of being okay or even worse than okay, and we want to be better than that. So we have to build on it. We've got to, if we can go and get a result this weekend, it makes an okay start, an even better start, and we just keep building up from there. Because these are two tough games with this one and Mansfield on Tuesday. If we can deal with those properly, we've got a really good game to look forward to at home, where again I would fully expect us to get some real good backing from our fans.
And the way the season has been structured with these Saturday, Tuesday games, it seems to be all the way through August, September, October. You said it already. You've got to be ready for that. You've just got to take it on.
Yeah, of course you do. It's the fixtures are what they are. I mean, we've obviously got the extra one thrown in because of the abandonment at Grimsby. But that's life. You just get on with it. The fixtures are what they are. We all know what we've got to come, and we've got to be ready. And that's why last week's game was really important. Sorry, this week's game against Fleetwood was really important, because we need everybody up to speed. We need everybody fully fit so that when they do get their opportunity, they're able to go and show their best version of themselves.
And the Central League Cup, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, we've been to the final of that very recently in the last couple of seasons. That's something that we tend to take seriously.
Well, I think as a football club, you have to take pride in every performance. You know, when I was here last time, we were winning the reserve league. The youth team were winning the youth league. So I think it has a knock-on effect. If the first team are right, it tends to breed a mentality inside the football club. So I'm delighted that we've got a good result in it, and it sets us up for the next one. We have to make sure the first team are right as well. We make sure we get results in that, and we keep pushing on.
That's one from me, Paul. You used first years and second years in that Tuesday game. What message are you sending to our under-18 department by doing that?
Well, I think they can see that there's an opportunity to play. If they're good enough, they'll get an opportunity. You know, we've had Nick Bellardo and Ryan Carr have been involved with the first team in league fixtures and in the cup fixtures. Kai Nugent was involved through pre-season. So the challenge is there for them. If they show us they're good enough, they'll get opportunities to play. You know, and the nature of this league and the way that games are coming thick and fast is that we need a good number of players available to us, and if they show us that they're good enough, then the door will open and they'll get that chance.